Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon everyone. I am Ambatua Idris, the second reporter of Group 7. So our topic today is about characteristics. So the different types of SLD have several characteristics of their own. However, Howard at ETL 2018 provided a set of general characteristics of learners with SLED. Reading problems according to Binder 2007, almost 90% of learners who are diagnosed with SLD have reading problems. As mentioned above, a learner who has problem in terms of reading, decoding, and comprehension has dyslexia. So sa reading problems ng mga learners na may SLED, ayon sa mga pag-aaral noong 2007 ni Binder, halos 90% ng mga batang may SLED ay may problema sa pagbabasa. So kasama dito ang problema sa reading or sa pagbabasa mismo. So kasali rin dito yung decoding, yung pagbabasa ng salita o pagbuo ng tunog ng mga letra. So the next na problema is yung comprehension. Yun yung pag-unawa sa binasa, yung pag-unawa sa binasa natin. So pinakakaraniwang problema is yung kakulangan sa phonemic awareness at hirap makilala at kontrolin ang tunog sa loob ng salita. So kaya sila nahihirapan magbasa dahil hindi nila nababasa ang salita sa maliit na tunog o sound parts. So may mga uri ng pagkakamali sa oral reading. So furthermore, Salvia and Wieseldi 2013 identified several prevalent difficulties and oral reading, which include omission. This occurs when the learner intentionally or unintentionally leaves out specific words of groups of words. So the next one is insertion. This happens when the learner adds one or more words to the sentence. The next one naman is substitution. When the learner exchanges one or more words in the passage with one or more significant ones. So ayon kina Salvia at Wasildik 2013, so may ilang karaniwang errors ang mga batang may SLED habang nagbabasa. So the first one is yung tinatawag nating omission. Ang omission is ang bata ay nakakaligtaan o hindi na nababasa ang ilang salita o grupo ng salita. So the next one naman is insertion. Yun yung nagdadagdag siya ng isa o higit pang salita na wala naman sa sentence. Yun yung pagdadagdag ng bata doon sa salita na hindi naman tugma or hindi naman siya kasali dun sa sentence. So the next one is substitution. So substitution is yan yung pinapalitan ng bata ang isang salita ng ibang salita. So halimbawa, yung isang salita is pinalitan ng bata ng isa pang salita na mas familiar or mas madaling bigkasin. Halimbawa, mahirap sa kanyang bigkasin yung isang salita, so pinapalitan niya ito ng salita na kung saan mas madaling bigkasin. So the next one is gross mispronunciation of a word. This may happen when the pronunciation of a word significantly deviates from the correct pronunciation. So dito naman sa gross mispronunciation is ito yung mali yung pagbigkas ng bata or doon sa salita at lumalayo sa tamang pronunciation. Dito naman sa the next one is sa hesitation. This transpires when the learner exhibits a delay of 2 or more seconds before articulating a word. So dito sa hesitation is ito yung pinapakita ng ito yung halimbawa nito is yung matagal mag-pause yung bata bago niya bigkasin ang salita. Halimbawa mga 2 or more seconds. So the next one is inversion. The learner alters the sequence of words in a sentence. So dito sa inversion is inuunan niya o binabaliktad niya ang pagkakasunod-sunod ng mga salita sa sentence. Ito yung hindi pag-organisa sa mga sentence na kung saan halimbawa maaring yung sa unahan malagay niya sa hulihan or yung sa hulihan malagay niya sa unahan. So hindi niya kayang mapagkasunod-sunod yung mga sentence. So the next one is disregard of punctuation. So the students fails to follow the correct punctuation rules. So dito naman sa disregard of punctuation is hindi sinusunod ng bata yung punctuation marks, kaya mali ang tono, hinto o daloy ng pagbabasa. So include na dito yung halimbawa sa hindi kami sanay na katulad namin, hindi kami sanay magsalita ng Tagalog. So malalaman mo talaga na hindi kami sanay dahil napakatigas yung pagsasalita namin. So the next one is typical reading comprehension difficulties observed in children with learning disabilities include the following. So number one is challenges in remembering basic details leading to an inability to respond to specific question on a passage, the name of the character in the story. So bukod sa pagbabasa mismo, may problema rin ang learners with SLD sa pag-unawa ng binasa. So number one dito is ito yung hirap sila ma-remember yung mga basic details. So hindi nila maalala pati yung mga simpleng information. So halimbawa tulad ng pangalan ng tao o di kay lugar o di kay yung mga bagay o di kay yung halimbawa yung mga tao sa isang kwento. So ang nagiging problema dito is kapag tinanong sila, hindi nila masagot ng direkta yung tinatanong sa kanila. So the next one is challenges in remembering the order of events leading to an inability to articulate the chronology of the story that was read. So sunod naman dito is hirap sila maalala ang order of events. So hindi nila matukoy kung ano ang nauna at sumunod na pangyayari. So hindi nila ma-identify kung ano yung nangyayari. So ang nagiging problema dito is hindi nila maipaliwanag ang flow ng kwento. So kapag tinanong sila doon sa event or doon sa nangyari is hindi nila maipaliwanag ng maayos yung naging yung pangyayari. So the next one naman is challenge in remembering the main idea resulting in an inability to recall the main theme of the story. So ito yung hirap silang tandaan yung main idea. So hindi nila makuha ang pinaka-tema o sentro ng kwento. So nagre-resulta ito na hindi nila masabi kung tungkol saan ang story. So halimbawa may story, so hindi nila matandaan yung main idea or hindi nila matandaan yung pinaka-tema or kung tungkol saan yung kwento na yon. Man is math underachievement. Student with learning disabilities may experience difficulties in both math computation and mathematical reasoning. Mathematical computation refers to the use of tools in figuring out an equation of the process of calculating itself. So ito yung kakulangan ng isang tao, isang bata na may SLED sa math performance. So ang batang may SLED ay madalas nahihirapan sila sa halimbawa nito is sa mathematical computation. So ito ay ang mathematical computation is ito yung mismong pag-compute ng mga numbers. So tulad ni halimbawa nito is pag-add or pag-subtract o di kaya naman sa pag-multiply o di kaya naman sa pag-divide. So minsan kahit marunong sila sa concept, nahihirapan silang isagawa yung formula or yung solution ng math computation. So sa mathematical reasoning naman is ito yung ito yung kakayahang umunawa ng math problem. So kaya nilang mag-isip ng tamang paraan para masolusyonan ito. So gumagamit sila ng logic at steps ng tama. So kung may dyscalculia, mas mahirap sila sa pag-retrieve ng so halimbawa may dyscalculia yung isang bata, so mas nahihirapan sila sa pag-retrieve ng basic math facts at pag-solve ng problems kahit simple lang. So the next one is in 1990, MC Logan and Lewis found 4 types of error computational analysis. So number 1 is incorrect operation. So the student picks the wrong method instance. The question asks for subtraction but the students perform addition. So ito yung incorrect operation. So mali ang operation na ginagamit ng bata. So halimbawa, kung ang tanong ay subtraction, so ang ginagawa naman ng bata is nag-a-add. So the next one na problema sa math o di kaya math errors sa study ni MC Logan and Lewis is yung sa incorrect number fact. The student's memory of the number fact is wrong. For instance, the student recalls that 9 times 9 equals 78 instead of 81. So ito yung halimbawa is mali ang pagkakaalala ng bata sa basic facts. So halimbawa, ang alam ng bata is 9 times 1 ay 70. So mali. Dapat ay 81. So the next one naman is incorrect algorithm. The way the student solves the problem is not right. The student does the right steps but in the wrong order, or the students may use the wrong operation. So dito naman sa pangatlo is tama ang operation ng isang bata sa math calculation, pero mali ang steps o proseso. So halimbawa, tama yung ginagawa niyang pag-subtract, pero mali ang pagkakasunod-sunod ng mga steps na yon. So the last one is random error. The student's answer is wrong and seems to be random. For instance, the students write 95 as the factor for 5 times 5. So dito naman sa random error is mali ang sagot ng isang bata na parang walang pattern o walang dahilan. So halimbawa nito isa problema na 5 times 5. So ang sinasagot ng bata ay 95. So mali yung sagot ng isang bata na may is LED or hirap sila sa pag-computation ng math problems. So instead na maging tama yung sagot nila is nagiging mali yung sagot nila dahil mali ang sagot nila dahil sa random errors. So mali ang sagot nila na parang walang pattern o walang dahilan. Poor social skills. Learner with SLD may also have problems in socializing and interacting with other people. Researchers indicate that their deficit in interpersonal skills is caused by their inability to understand social cues relative to their own experience and failure to comprehend nonverbal social expression. This leads to social isolation, limitation on their social interaction, and poor social skills. So dito naman sa poor social skills, ito yung kakulangan ng may SLD ay maaring magkaroon ng problema sa pakikipag-socialize, yung pakikipaghalubilo or pakikipag-interact sa ibang tao, yung pakikipag-usap sa ibang tao. So dahil madalas hindi agad nila naintindihan ang social cues or hirap silang mag-interpret ng non-verbal expression tulad ng facial expression at body language. So ang nagiging resulta nito is social isolation or limitadong pakikisalamuha at hirap makipagkaibigan o di kaya yung tinatawag nating poor social skills. So the next one is attention deficits in hyperactivity. Often, attention deficit in hyperactivity disorder o ADHD develop together with SLD With these learners who are diagnosed with SLD, ADHD will have learning problems, attention deficits, and hyperactivity. This means that that learners with SLD and ADHD may find it challenging to focus on one task and may also display high tendencies of hyperactivity. So sa attention deficits and hyperactivity is mas madaling ma-develop ng sabay ang ADHD at SLD. So mas karaniwang hirap sila mag-focus or di kaya mabilis na ma-distract o di kaya nahihirapan silang tapusin agad yung isang task or di kaya mataas yung hyperactivity o di kaya sobrang likot. So kaya mas mahirap sa kanila ang pag-aaral or di kaya yung pagsunod sa instruction at pag-focus sa lesson. So the next one is behavior problems. Research findings show that there is an increasing behavioral problems associated with learners with SLD. Additionally, the Learning Disabilities Association of America listed common behavior problems of learners with SLD such as the following: incapability to interpret social and environmental cues, poor awareness, insufficient consideration of reasonable consequences, deficient impulse control, desire for instant gratification. So dito naman sa behavior problems is ayon sa pananaliksik, tumataas ang behavior issues sa mga batang may SLD. So madalas or karaniwang behavior problems is yung impulsiveness. So yung pagiging easily frustrated. So acting out o di kaya naman yung pagiging inattentive o di kaya yung difficulty following rules. So ang Learning Disabilities Association of America ay naglista ng common behavior problems. So makikita ito makikita natin ito sa next page. So inability to interpret social and environmental cues. So hirap silang intindihin ang non-verbal signals tulad ng facial expression, body language, at tone of voice. So the next one naman is yung poor awareness. So poor awareness, insufficient consideration of consequences. So, minsan hindi nila naisip ang posibleng magiging resulta ng kanilang action. So, hindi advance yung isip nila na hindi nila iniisip yung magiging problema or posibleng magiging resulta ng kanilang action. So, halimbawa, gumawa ng decision ng hindi nag-iisip. So, deficient impulse control. So, madaling makagawa ng bagay ng hindi nag-iisip. So ito yung acting before thinking. So ginagawa niya na walang pag-iisip. Number 4 naman is desire for instant gratification. So ito yung gusto nila, ang gusto lang nila is mabilis ang resulta or reward. So mahirap sa kanila yung paghintay. Napakahirap sa kanilang maghintay. So, failure to establish realistic priorities and objectives. So, dito naman sa number 5 is hindi nila alam kung alin ang uunahin at ano ang realistic goals. So, halimbawa, inuuna ang laro kaysa assignment. So, hindi nila ma-specific kung alin nga ba yung gagawin nila. Gagawin muna nila yung kanilang school works or maglalaro muna sila. So, number 6 naman is improper conclusions resulting from a lack of proficiency in reasoning. So, improper conclusion due to lack of reasoning skills is minsan mali yung interpretation o conclusion nila dahil mahina ang logical reasoning nila. So, number 7 naman, illogical reasons for actions. So, gumagawa ng decision na walang malinaw o logical na dahilan. So, number 8 naman is challenge in establishing meaningful connection with others. So, hirap makipagkaibigan o makabuo ng stable relationship dahil sa social skill deficits. So, napakahirap para sa kanila na makipaghalubilo or makipagkaibigan sa iba. So number 9 naman is immature and bossy behavior. So minsan mas commanding o controlling sila kaysa sa iba. So maaari ring immature ang behavior dahil sa frustration o difficulty sa understanding. So number 10 naman is low tolerance for frustration, disruptive behavior. So madali silang mainis o madali silang frustrate. So minsan nagiging sanhi ng disruptive behavior in class is yung pag-iingay o di kaya ayaw nilang makinig o di kaya yung outburst. So the next one is assessment and identification. An IQ test is the most popular kind of assessment instrument used to measure intellectual intelligence. While it has been argued that IQ should not be the only measure used to determine an individual's intellectual capacity, it nevertheless has a crucial role in assessing intellectual functioning. So, dito naman sa assessment and identification is ang intellectual assessment is ito yung pagsusukat ng intellectual ng isang tao. So ginagamit ang IQ test para masukat ang kakayahan ng isang tao. So hindi dapat ito nag-iisang basihan ng talino, pero mahalaga ito sa pag-assess ng intellectual functioning. So may iba't ibang IQ test tulad ng Wechsler Intelligence Skills for Children, o di kay Stanford Binet Intelligence Scale 5th edition SB5, Kaufman Assessment Battery for Children 2nd edition, Slauson Intelligence Test Revised Set 3 R3, Test of Nonverbal Intelligence 3rd edition. So the next one is academic assessment. This assessment often entails the utilization of 2 or more norm, reference, criterion, references, or standardized assessment in the areas of reading, math, spelling, and writing expression. The following are common types of academic assessment used for identifying learner with SLD, Harwell and Jackson 2014. So dito naman sa academic assessment is ito yung sinusukat yung pagbabasa or yung kakayahan ng bata sa math, or di kaya kakayahan ng bata sa pag-spelling, kakayahan ng bata sa reading, at iba pang academic skills. So kadalasan ginagamit sa pag-identify ng learning disabilities o SLD is mga karaniwang ito yung mga karaniwang academic test. So ito yung Brigance Diagnostic Inventory of Basic Skills Revised, and Kaufman Test of Educational Achievement, and the Peabody Individual Achievement Test Revised, and the Wide Range Achievement Test 5, and the Woodcock-Johnson Psycho-Educational Battery, and the Wechsler Individual Achievement Test. So the next one is observation. Applied to education, an observational assessment is a method in which an observer closely monitors participants as they carry out a task and assess their performance. So sa observation naman is pinapanood ng teacher o evaluator ang bata habang gumagawa ng mga gawain. So nakikita nila kung paano natututo ang bata o paano sila kumilos. So mahalaga ito dahil nag-iiba ang performance ng bata depende sa oras o di kaya sa situation. So the next one is the language assessment. Language skills, which refers on the knowledge of word meaning, how to put words together to form phrases or sentences, manipulate words to convey meaning, and produce speech of learners who are at risk of having SLD must also be assessed in order to provide related services to address their language deficits. So ito naman sa language assessments is ito yung pagsusuri upang malaman kung gaano kahusay ang isang bata sa paggamit o pag-intindi ng isang wika. So mahalaga ito lalo na para sa mga batang posibleng may specific learning disability o yung tinatawag nating SLD. So dalawang uri ng language skills na sinusuri. Ito yung receptive and expressive language. So Receptive language refers the ability to comprehend information, while expressive language refers to learners with ability to express thoughts, feelings, and ideas through nonverbal and communication, either with the assistant of devices or not. So, ito yung dalawang uri ng language skills. Ito yung receptive language at expressive language. Ang receptive language is sinusukat niya kung gaano kahusay ang bata kung paano siya umintindi ng salita, pangungusap o di kaya isang message. So, halimbawa, halimbawa nito is kung naintindihan ba niya yung instruction or naintindihan ba niya yung meaning ng isang word. So, sa expressive language naman is sinusukat dito kung gaano kahusay ang bata magpahayag ng iniisip at nararamdaman gamit ang salita. So, halimbawa, kaya ba niyang buuin ang pangungusap? Kaya ba niyang magkwento o mag-express ng kanyang sariling ideas? So, bakit ba ito ginagawa? Para malaman kung may language difficulty ang bata. So, para mabigyan siya ng tamang suporta o di kaya speech therapy o special education. So, the following are common types of language assessment used by the speech and language therapists to acquire relevant results to be reported to the Multidisciplinary Evaluation Team, or MET, Harwell and Jackson, 2014. So, the Peabody Picture Vocabulary Test, the Test for Auditory Comprehension of Language Edition, the Test of Adolescent and Adult Language 4th Edition, Test of Early Language Development 4th Edition, Test of Language Development Primary 5th Edition, Test of Language Development Intermediate 5th Edition. So, ito yung ilang ginagamit na mga test. So, the next one is behavioral assessment. The student behavior may also be assessed specifically if it manifests distributing misbehaviors. Assessing behaviors can be done using the following method. So, number 1 is multiple observation. The next one is conducting interviews with parents, teachers, guardians, and other relevant others. The use of rating skills teacher made of standardized. The next one is using personal inventories using projective test. So, dito naman sa behavioral assessment is ito yung pagsusuri or ng pag-ugali ng isang bata. So, ito ay ginagamit para makita kung ang bata ay may behavioral issues na posibleng makaapekto sa pagkatuto. So, kailan ito ginagamit? Kailan ba ginagamit itong behavioral assessment? So, kapag ang bata ay nagpapakita ng misbehavior o di kaya hirap mag-focus o di kaya hindi na angkop ang kilos nito sa classroom. So, mayroon tayong mga behavioral assessment or paraan ng behavioral assessment. Ito yung multiple observation. Ito yung paulit-ulit na pag-observe sa isang bata. So, tinitignan ng guro o evaluator kung paano kumikilos ang bata sa iba't ibang oras at sitwasyon sa classroom o di kaya sa playground. So, the next one is interview. So, kinakausap ng guro yung magulang or kinakausap ang magulang o di kaya guro o di kaya yung guardian. So, o di kaya yung iba pang taong nakakasama ng bata para malaman kung paano dito kumilos, kung paano kumikilos ang bata sa ibang lugar. So, kailangan kausapin natin yung kanyang magulang, yung guardian, para malaman natin yung behavior ng isang bata sa iba. Halimbawa, maaring iba yung ugali niya sa bahay, iba yung ugali niya sa schools. So, the next one naman is rating skills. So, ito yung ginagawa ng behavioral assessment is mga form na nilalagay ng score ang behavior ng bata. So, halimbawa, hyperactivity, attention span. So, the next one naman is personal inventories. Self-checks forms kung saan kung minsan sinasagot ng bata ang tungkol sa sarili niyang feelings at behavior. So, number 5 naman ay projective test. So, ito yung mga activities tulad ng pagkukwento sa larawan, pag-drawing, para makita ang thought, emotion at personality ng bata. So, hanggang dito na lang yung aking report. Thank you.